There it
Hey, this
is.
is Theory Bro number two with the host this time is Sam Stan for the usual. I'm just steal his introduction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is exciting. So this is episode number 2, and we're going to be talking about some pretty interesting things, especially with all the hoopla that I've seen. Actually, I came across the news first about this UFO UAP meeting, congressional
hmm
meeting after 50 years. And I actually came across it on TikTok, and it was about like all these people just giving their hot takes on why this was important, why it wasn't important, the findings, etc. So I'm like, maybe we should talk about it, not only on a social aspect, but also on a scientific aspect, because Panyapit and I are both physicists and engineers, so we could probably put some good information out there, like on a conceptual wise basis. But first
hmm
of all, let's just start. Instead of being so clerical, let's start with like, how the heck are things going, Pan?
Well, my cat definitely failed mirror test. That's the one. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how life is. And meow meow meow. I'll bring her here. Meow. Come on.
So she failed the mirror test. So what that means is
Yeah,
pretty much self-identification
that
of a conscious
it
being.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every time she see her reflection, she just scratch it. Fight.
Yeah.
Definitely fail it.
Yeah. Can't recognize it's her in the mirror. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm
but
pretty
she
sure
having
like
fun though.
bonobos do that, right? Bonobos, different types of apes, um,
Yeah,
like
I think
obviously
orangutan
us.
know it too.
Who
Orangutan know it too.
orangutan? Yeah, that's right. And then also
Corvid.
corvids, pretty
Yeah,
sure.
crow. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
I want
definitely.
to have like a pet crow or something if I really know how to teach it. Like, it's very smart. These corvid, if you feed it a couple times and stuff, they will repay back by like either getting something shiny for you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they can also recognize and sometimes spit out your words. And from what I just learned from Park Ranger Keith that was on the
hmm
podcast 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, he said that like once you befriend a corvid, you could
They'll
have a
remember
corvid for
you.
like your entire life, like in terms of their
True.
generations. They'll pass it on.
Yeah, because they would tell like who is like this guy. They tell you to the next generation. So if you really piss them off, they'll remember you for the rest of that generation too. So
Yeah,
whatever it is, don't kill crow. Don't
yeah.
shoot them. They'll remember it.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
It will be like, do you remember that Rick and Morty episode? I think it's season 4 or 5, where
Oh, it's
like
5, yeah.
Morty just accidentally killed that guy, and just like, oh, this kid remember this, and every time Morty come back, it's just like, oh, the society keep changing just to kill him, like he will come back, shit, or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like,
And I'm
yeah.
pretty sure there's even a crow episode where Rick befriends crows and goes on like adventures whenever he was just so sick and tired of dealing with Morty. And
Oh,
the crows were his best friend, and they just went on adventures and stuff. I'm like, dude, this is so funny. Like, this is obviously not accurate, but like a cool way to
mm-hmm.
project corvids being your companion for sure.
Oh,
Uh,
and by
yeah.
the way, I might look down right now because I'm looking at my cat. I just trying to see like what she doing, so she not try to kill herself.
You just don't want
But
awkward
where?
eye contact with the audience. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm a shy guy,
Yeah, man. So how many
but
cats you got now?
um, I think still five, but one left, like literally left after she got fully vaccinated, and she got her I think, yeah, just all of the doctor checked up. After that thing is done, that cat just turned to whole face and left the house, go with like his harem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that cat just turned whole face. So I don't know when it will come back.
Pan just
So
loves hoarding cats from everybody
not
else.
Not really. I mean, at first I have like I have two cats, and then she pregnant, so another five came out. Uh,
Jeez.
three of them died, and then the mother cat died, which that made me really really sad.
Oof.
And then I have those three left. We actually took the the those two cats, the kind of like the daughter of the deceased cat, to you know kind of like clip her,
Oh yeah,
clip
get
them
her
up.
fixed. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I got you.
And then right now, my mate told me that like aw, the cat's kind of gone right now. Like she can't find it, but this probably is hurt, so it's trying to hide or stuff like that. I mean, I'm still not really good cat parent much. I don't know things much,
You're working
but
6 days a week, so
yeah.
makes sense.
But yeah, the only one cat that I really take care of is these dumb cat that just love to punch her reaction. That's it. Yeah,
Oh, you
I'll
mean in the
show her.
mirror? I was like, what? What are you
Yeah,
trying to say?
she love punch her reaction, dude. She love
Yeah.
to fight her dark side.
That's amazing. So,
All right, I'm gonna go fix something up right there
all
because
right,
my cat's going
I'll prelude
haywire.
to what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So so what we're going to talk about today, obviously, is the UFO or UAP meeting, and maybe to do a precursor. We UFO is kind of a dated term. We don't say, well, I'm not going to say we. The government doesn't like the term UFO because it's unidentified flying object versus a UAP, which is an unidentified aerial phenomenon. And Pan and I were just talking.
Yeah, dude, the
Okay, stealing the
troublemaker.
show.
She literally just punching the phone back there. The thing is fun for her.
Oh, what else
Yeah.
are you gonna do? But
Uh,
I was trying to explain that like the difference between a UAP and a UFO. So like one's a flying object, one is an aerial phenomenon. And if you say flying versus aerial phenomenon, if you say flying, you're kind of projecting an idea that something's being flown or some something or like in that vessel or somewhere something's flying it like a drone. But if you say aerial phenomenon, then you leave that open ended to anything. It could be a satellite, it could
mm,
be a drone, it could be a ship, it could be a meteorite, it could be many different things. So I think that was probably a very smart move to move from UFO to UAP. I mean, it's been 50 years since they've
that's
conducted one
true.
of these meetings. But yeah, do you agree with that? Do you think UAP is a better option?
I would say it's a better option, and because like as you say, as time went on, we have drone and stuff too. Like imagine back in like the 60s to 70s, where those UFO thing is a term. I think that is because like you don't have like uh unmanned territorial object.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's why they just start with like unidentified flying object instead,
Yeah,
because they need to be manned.
that's a good evolution of the term. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I know. So apparently they had in this meeting. We're not going to play any clips or anything, but we'll definitely put up some images once I edit this. But they were saying that there was about 400 different objects or accounts that they covered in this entire meeting. And I looked and like the meeting was probably over an hour or so long in terms of what was covered in footage. I think
Yeah.
different news broadcasts were there the entire time. I didn't
Also,
watch the entire time. I just watched like the compilation videos and read some articles. But
yeah, and that link is in the description.
yes, yeah, yeah. I'll link the full videos in the description. That way you guys can check it out. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think what 400 objects right in 50 years. I think that's obviously low. So they did a lot of sifting through some accounts, I would assume. There was a point in which, and you watched the video, Pan, you can attest to this. There was a point in which there was an interesting account that was over a military base, but more specifically a nuclear facility. And it was brought up like it was like a high media, like induced account. And the people that were running the UAP, agency that check out these UAPs were just like, first, like first we've ever heard of it. We never looked into it. And the guy's like, you never heard of it from any? They're like, well, we take accounts from officials, people that tell us what to look at. And he's like, I'm an official. I'm telling you about this. Why don't you look into it? What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
I would say like the defendant team, which is the Navi director,
Mhm.
they just did a very, very poor job defending the subject. And yeah, I mean they're the official, but they doesn't have like the actual proper answer or any clear cut to it. That's why it just lead to so many conspiracy thoughts, I think.
Yeah, it continues to be a UAP, still
Mm-hmm.
unidentified. Yeah, I think it's really tough to narrow it down, especially like I saw one video where there was like triangles in the sky.
Yeah,
I mean,
to
but
be
that's
honest,
also a reflection based off of it could I
it could
it
be
could
from a normal airplane too when you think about it though. But I don't know. I'm not the airplane expertise.
yeah, it depends on the elevation of which that pilot was at, that was
Mm-hmm.
able
Yeah.
to grab footage of it. I find it interesting that this, I want to call it reflection, but this image was, a triangle, like a perfect
Yeah.
triangle. It could be, and it very well could be a reflection of like a low Earth orbit satellite that is grabbing reflection from the sun
That
and
could
projecting
be.
it onto them. That could very well be because low Earth satellites have to travel really fast so they don't fall out of orbit, right? That's orbital mechanics. You have to go a certain speed to achieve an orbital velocity that doesn't either throw you off or make you plummet towards Earth because of gravity. So it could have been a low Earth orbit object or satellite that was just going. And again, you could make the point of, okay, well, you know, it was a satellite, so who was in control if it's unidentified by the United States government? Where it is, I mean, there's plenty of other countries and
Mm-hmm.
organizations that put satellites into the air. It could have been, for studying climate. It could have been for studying, different like human population or movement. It could have been for just so many different things. uh,
Yeah.
so that's why it's tough to nail these things down, especially whenever you don't have good communication with other governments. You don't know what their practices are, and it's just super tough to identify. So it stays unidentified.
That's true. And I have another point that I'm kind of feel like the defendant just did a really poor job. It's the fact that like in that meeting they have a good discussion or more like just uh address that um if it's like really close to the base, did you try to communicate it?
Oh yeah,
And those guys decided to just say like, well, we didn't because we know that this is unmanned. Like, well, it seems like even though it's really that close, how do you know it's unmanned? And why did you not shut them down at that point? And just trying to make some contact is weird.
yeah. I wouldn't say shooting it down would be an ideal situation, but definitely trying to like send a signal or something. Because
Yeah.
even
Or
if it was
mhm.
a drone could, have some sort of receptor that could take in a signal and
Yeah.
possibly push it to where it is being operated.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, maybe, I mean, again, it could very well be an object that, that's in very low orbit or just on a straight flight path that was trying to gain intel over, a US um, base of some
Yeah.
sort. It doesn't even have to be nuclear, it could be anything, right? Just gaining intelligence uh, through this technological use. And why
Mhm.
would the United States know that? They, you're not going to alert your adversary that I'm going to try to gain intel over you. That makes no sense. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Let's think about it this way. What if it was, not, what if it was extraterrestrial? And would you still think it would be a good idea to communicate, or would you just let wait until it communicated with you? Because obviously there's communication barrier,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I would at least send some signal, but if something I learn is people have different culture, have different language, so I don't know, like if we say something is gonna be like, how we offend them or not, but at least I would
Mhm.
send some signal, whatever it is, they will like send it back. After at that point, uh, we can make it become a big deal. I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with your point. Language,
Mhm.
right? Because I mean, we have thousands of languages on Earth.
Mhm.
Um, I find it would be quite, I wouldn't say a bad idea, but it wouldn't be the best idea to just send them like, hello. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe like imagery or something that they can understand. Maybe not even mathematics, because we
Yeah.
use mathematics that's tailored to our understanding of the universe, right? So they might have
That's
a
true.
total
Have
different
also.
package.
That's true. Oh, and
Yeah.
by talking about like sending pictures and imagery, I actually have like I don't know if it's like a good, really good like I don't know example for this, but not so long ago I just watched an anime called Space
What?
Runaway Ideon, and it's basically a conflict between Earthian and alien and stuff. Those kind of 70s anime show,
Oh boy.
but they did pretty much did a good like they did have a good take about like communication if you don't know if you have a language barrier. So
Yeah.
like the Earthian they kind of want to tell like the alien that like oh we want we want a ceasefire. We want a ceasefire, so please don't do anything. And they hang up a white flag. But the alien, they have a different take. It's like white flag mean
Mm.
like we gonna exterminate you all. If you, yeah, if you want us, like in their language, the alien language, if you want a ceasefire, you need to be like red color because that red color is
Mhm.
resonant with like that culture and stuff. Like resonant with like the hero, which means like we want a ceasefire. Like, oh, I actually think that's a pretty good take. So what if we did send something like that through like imagery and stuff? What do you think?
Mm.
That
Yeah.
probably like the probably the best example of like language barrier that can
Yeah.
turn into a problem I see in media.
Mhm. It might even be good because, like, if you think about it, right, they're already here to scope out, say, like, they're going over a nuclear base. They're scoping out some of our best technologies. They already can probably see, like, our satellites, our space junk
Yeah.
as well.
They probably look at
Uh,
us like, oh yeah, these guys are clowns.
well, possibly. I mean, I think the best move would even be just taking our most well understood concept, maybe even the
Yeah.
most well understood mathematical concept. That's easy for probably anything to kind of understand once it gains a certain level of intelligence of the universe, and just send it to them, and see what they think. Maybe what if we even
That's
just
true.
drew a schematic of the black hole, or of a black hole, but through radio transmission.
Yeah.
I don't know, like some sort of schematic that applies everywhere, and they're like, oh, well, at least they kind of know something. I mean, they're not even tier one of the Fermi paradox, but at least they
Mm-hmm.
can kind of, you
Know
know,
what it is.
they have a little bit of a grasp. And yeah, I mean,
Send send a picture of space. That
send a
that's
pictures.
that's probably the most the most neutral. Like imagine you sending like just one weird planet. It's like, oh, by the way, that is my planet. Are you targeting mine? And then we messed up. Like one in a uh one trillion million chance of like that is their planet. It's like, oh, but that's our planet. You want to wipe out?
Shit.
that would-
You send them
that would be
a
messed up.
right. You send them a planet from like Proxima B, and they're just like, oh, or Proxima Centauri, and they're like, oh, I see we're about to go to war now. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Well, if you send them a picture, like, or send them not, I can't say picture, send them an imagery of like a black hole, then, I mean, nothing lives inside of a black hole. So it's
That's pretty
probably the best way to
neutral.
go. Yeah.
Unless they have how can I say this? Unless they kind of translate that black hole picture as like, oh, you're gonna make us into a paradox. You will make us alive and unalive at the same time. It's like what?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Like, in terms of, there's just so much like the possibility of having a message misconstrued
Yeah,
is just
that's just
unbelievable.
really high. Like
Yeah.
like even though if I said like send a picture of space, what if they thought it's like, oh, that mean like you wanna conquer all of the galaxy? We need to stop you too. It's like, oh. So we don't know what is like the true neutral here, huh? When you
Mhm.
think about it.
Mhm.
But okay, in your opinion, what would be like the true neutral if you want to send a message to the aliens?
Man, I don't know. Like I said, I would probably keep I know language probably isn't the best idea, so I definitely wouldn't do anything that's linguistic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could send them like that's the thing. Like, you can't send them a physical object. It's best to send them a transmission of some way.
A song?
I don't know. Maybe, like, you mean an instrumental? Definitely not something that has words.
True.
You
Just like
know,
instrumental song.
possibly. Maybe
It,
like a very maybe like a ukulele or something, something very
yeah,
very chill. You know.
dude. That just give me like some weird funny thought. Like, okay, imagine this. Like in a whole I think that we actually leave some stuff like left some stuff back during like when we conquer like the moon, right? Not really conquer, but when
Mm.
we able to
Poop
land
packs.
on the moon. Yeah, they actually left some stuff there, right?
Mm.
Something something that like it will represent uh our planet. I can't remember what it is. Like I don't know like that flag's still there or not, but it actually have more than just a flag. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, I'm
Do
sure
you
there's a
remember?
decent amount of things that were left over, but yeah, I mean, it's not like there's any, you know, weather to make
Yeah,
that different.
but I remember like they actually left a music during that time. Like they left a record of I don't know what the who is the artist is. Can we
Um,
search this real quick?
I think.
Like
y-
what if we do it like I mean back to my point though. But that is like back in those time but like during the Cold War. But in the future where we want to leave a message similar to that, what would the Zoomers lifting as a message? Do you think they will left like do you think they will leave like freaking sicko mode? put put sicko mode as a
No, no,
no.
no. So I think so from what I just quickly looked up, and this is from Britannica,
Mm,
so aside from like trash, there was food packaging to wet wipes, 100 plus packets of human urine and excrement. And they left, they dumped tools and things that they didn't need, and even television equipment that they just no longer needed
wow,
for the
that
return
sounds
trip.
like they just leave thing as a space junk.
Yep. Yeah, humans do a good job at that. But I want to
Wow.
make a so there was
So
a
they did not like leave any music or anything? Wow.
no, no. I think I
Okay,
know what
I
you're
got
talking
my
about,
thoughts.
and that's on the Voyager
Oh,
mission.
I see.
Yeah. The golden record? Yeah.
Mm.
Little
What did
different.
they what did they left? Like what song though?
I don't remember. I can Google it.
Like what would be like our equivalent in the future if it's our generation or like, our younger generation? I just want to know it. Did they put like a song with lyrics?
There's many different songs actually that were on the Voyager record. Like
Oh my.
many different. There's stuff from Mozart,
Oh
there's
yeah,
stuff
that's
from
pretty
Bach,
good.
Beethoven.
Good pick.
Yeah, there's a wedding song that's like famous from Peru. There's there was geez. There's Bulgarian music, there's
Mm.
Chinese music, Indian music, Japanese. So even from New Guinea, which is cool. I mean, like there's a bunch of
Wow,
stuff
that's
on
pretty
here.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and they actually send like classical music, so they at least know about like the we have a different language barrier. So
Yeah.
wow, proud to them. They are very,
Yeah.
as I
They're
thought,
showing diversity. Yeah.
show
Well,
diversity and try to not like break out the language barrier and
mhm.
any something that can be a potential threat. That's very good.
I guess, I mean, I mean, think about it this way, right? I mean, as long as the laws of physics hold true everywhere, right? In the universe,
Mm-hmm.
that means evolution does the same darn thing here that it would in say Proxima b in Proxima
Yeah.
Centauri, right? So it could be that this is a single species, but more than likely it's a species that evolved and took many different evolutionary steps that also made them become culturally different or look a little different, just like how Homo sapiens do. So
Mm-hmm.
could very well be that way, or it could be, I hate to say it, like the super overlording species of the planet that becomes super intelligent, but I don't know. I don't see it that way. I see it more evolutionary prudent to see different beings within the same species, kind of like
Yeah.
us. Yeah,
Probably similar to us.
yeah,
Might be listed people.
but I don't think they're. I mean, I think it would be really egotistic of us to say that they look like us, right? They
Yeah, it
probably
won't.
don't.
It won't. It might come from like a different species for real. Like we, as a Homo sapien, we come from like primates. What if like this time they come from like fish,
What if they're ants, dude, and they're just
ants?
super
Holy
small?
dude! If they come from ants and they still like still have that like hive mind social social hierarchy, I kind of want to study that now. When you
Yeah,
think
think.
about it, like
Mhm.
an alien that hive-minded might very small guy, probably like him, even though with evolution, and have
Yeah,
a kind of have a very fun social system. That's cool.
yeah.
By the way, I
Evolution
just
doesn't
looked
care
at
about
that.
size. So if you think about it, like if you rate intelligence, like we say that we're about 1% more intelligent than bonobos and orangutans. And then the corvids are quite equivalent to most gorillas or large apes. So
Yeah,
the 1% just means like your neural connections compared to the size of your brain, right? It's just concentration. So like we're
Yeah.
1% more dense in neural connections than our like bonobos and orangutans. So it could even be, and here's another point, it could even be that they're the species, because we're still, and this goes to the Fermi paradox I wanted to talk about. If we're not even tier 1 and we haven't really become a multi-planetary species or been able to really even travel to Mars, put anybody to Mars, they're if they are here, right? If one of those was a UAP of something that was manned. I hate that term, but alienized. That means that they're definitely smarter than us. They figured out something. They're
Yeah.
probably 1% more intelligent than us. They've been able, because to travel is, and I think maybe this is good for the audience to hear, is it takes a lot to space travel. Imagine going from your home planet and having to travel 4 light years, right? Say like
Mm-hmm.
from Proxima to here, 4 light years. That's 4 years in which you're traveling at the speed of light, which is
Mm-hmm.
in our terms would be nearly impossible, because you would shred down
Yeah.
to your subatomic particles in force. So
True.
it, unless they're literally creating a gravity well, or they figured out how to step through a higher dimension to get here faster,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not on that level, so they're definitely more
Yeah.
intelligent than us.
Which when which like when compared to us, we're just able to breathe speed up sound. We able to breach it, but we still unable to make it to speed up light yet.
I
If
don't
they
think we
able to
can
do it
unless we
that
do that
good.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, unless we become like that technological advance.
Hmm. Yeah. Crazy
Probably
stuff.
not our lifetime, but I think might be our next generation. Who knows? Unless this world turn to shit and we died.
Yeah, that's the other part of the Fermi paradox, right? So if they're out traveling, they've skipped some hurdles that are
Hmm.
natural to the process of a civilization, right? They've
Yeah.
probably survived the nuclear holocaust, the climate changes, the diseases, and whatnot, and also even just like if you're in a certain solar system, your sun's, wow, that was really egotistic. Your star has a certain lifespan, and
Mm-hmm.
it as it becomes a red giant, it expands out, which
It
depending
expands.
upon where you're at in a habitable zone, or
Mm-hmm.
if you even need the habitable zone there, you can get cooked out of your planet. So it just depends on their steps and their stages and how they have energy and how they use their energy. And apparently if they can get from here to there, they're definitely above us in the Fermi paradox, or
Yeah.
I guess just the Fermi stages. I think we're not even one, because you
We
have
are not
to.
one at all. We not really like we're not able to utilize of the resource on Earth yet. We are
That's
unable
right.
to use all of that. Like we need to start with like utilize everything on Earth to make the most efficient of them.
Yeah.
After that, we can like work on going reach out and stuff. I think
Hmm.
they have like a tier like that, right? They need to
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
like
You're spot on.
right now we in like TS 0.5. We we kind of become somewhat of a humanity, but the war within still occurs. So like as I'm not gonna say it now, but it's probably people already know it.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, think about, so just to make this kind of a little more valid to what we're talking about in terms of technology and capabilities. So there's this like famous sighting that like everyone refers to, that there was
Mm-hmm.
these pilots, multiple pilots in a squadron that saw this not needle-like looking. You'd have to look it up a little bit more in a reputable source, which is probably hard to find with this stuff. But there was a needle-like spaceship that went from a certain altitude, to literally right above water level in like a split
Oh,
second. And whether that's true or not, I find it to be actually, in my opinion, I find it to be actually extremely fascinating. I'm on the side as which I'm not gung ho crazy conspiracy, but I find logic in a lot of these things. And if there were an extraterrestrial species that was just doing this or monitoring, I think that'd be really sick. And I think it'd be cool to actually have contact because boy, would
uh,
that plow a lot of egotistic thoughts away from a lot of people.
is it like it's like very like thin? How big was it?
I have no idea. I just know that it was a needle-like structure
Needle
that,
like structure.
yeah, that went from
Why
like
why do
here to, yeah.
why do you, like what this new source you got, is it around like 2000? Because if it 2000, it's actually a cryptid called rods, in which these rods is actually a kind of like an area in photography.
It
People
could
actually
be.
thought it's actually real cryptid, but in the end, it's actually just like an area in photography.
Very well. Very well could be. I don't know so I was just kind of making a technological reference. Again, I
Yeah, that's
didn't look too
good.
much into it. There's a lot of probably like scientific reasoning into this that could definitely debunk a lot of these things.
Mhm.
It's just sometimes the problem is that the people that are, the whistleblowers, or I guess it's a good term, the whistleblowers of these things don't have an understanding of uh like physical phenomena, and they're just trying to get a confirmation bias that they were the ones that reported this. And sometimes
And
sometimes that's skewed, but
I mean, they look at in like, their perspective, so
mhm,
they don't have like the actual proper knowledge for this subject.
mhm.
That's why like they cannot pinpoint on what it is. So they just go straight into like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is what it is.
And even like those I don't want to say, even those pilots, I don't know if it was Navy pilots. It might have just been I don't know what branch of the military it was, but either way, it could have just been them reporting something again like they don't know what it is. They're just doing their job, they're reporting it. There's not every
Yeah.
whistleblower is a person that's ignorant to science, right? There's a lot of people that see things and are like, I have no idea what that is. It's a AU, AUP, right? Unidentified airborne,
UFP.
yeah, UAP. It's a UAP, you know. I don't know. I don't want to say that everybody's the dude in the field that got probed last night by an alien species that looks just like him, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasoning to this. Like you said, it could be reflection. It could be a low Earth orbiting satellite. It could be a meteorite that just is reflecting from the sun. Because we get showered. I don't know if people realize this, but we get showered with meteorites every day, all the time, because we're plowing through space.
True.
So it could definitely be because hey, they travel through the atmosphere at like unprecedented speeds, like
True.
thousands and thousands of miles per hour. So that's definitely over the sound barrier. So yeah, I mean, it could definitely be a meteorite, or hell, I'll even say it even at the lowest of probabilities, because I totally understand the limits of the universe at the moment. Is it probably isn't an alien, but it could be. You know, that's that's why they continue to keep it unidentified.
Yeah.
Mhm. I don't know. I think the Fermi Paradox is fun. If anybody, I mean, if you don't know it, I think it'd be fun for you to just kind of look it up and have some further explanation of the Fermi Paradox. So it
Well,
deals.
you kind of spoiled now. Can you just like, explain a brief information of Fermi paradox and kind of dumb it down from my stupid brain?
Far from stupid, man. But uh, so the Fermi paradox is fun. It deals with a tier list in terms of civilization, and in comparison to if they would die out before they would become
Yeah.
superior, so to speak. So your tier one is what you said earlier, is taking advantage of the resources on your
Mm-hmm.
planet. Then between 1 and 2 is becoming a multiplanetary species, putting species on such planets within your solar system, within your reach. Tier 2 to tier 3 now you have the ability to harness energy within your own system. You're say like a Dyson sphere, like you can take advantage of the sun in that manner, or you can terraform a planet to create habitability. There's many different subcategories within that. So then you
Mm-hmm.
step up to the next one. It's just pretty much taking the universe and saying like, okay, you go from planet to solar system, then to galaxy, and then you're whatever. There's pretty much the super beings. And then there's a
Tier
lot of
one,
like intermediate steps that could take you
tier
out.
one, utilize Earth. Tier two, utilize solar system.
Yes.
Tier three, you become galactic warlord.
Yeah. So, and then
Imagine.
another portion of this, though, is if you want me to further explain, is that it's really like even if like even if like an extraterrestrial species wasn't here but was trying to make contact with us, right? It's all
Mm-hmm.
based on like what we were talking before. To be able to travel to a place,
Yeah.
it's more than likely best to either take advantage of multiple dimensions or create a gravity
Mm-hmm.
well, but you have
Yeah.
to be able to travel at the speed of light or faster than the speed of light, because to travel from say uh I don't know, to a solar system that's 65 million light years away, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
imagine the information that's being seen right now at that place, right? Because they're 65 million years uh light years away. So whenever they're receiving information from us, they're actually seeing the dinosaurs perishing at the moment from the KT extinction. So for them then to send a signal to us would take 65 million years, which by the time that
Oh,
signal
wow.
reaches to us at the speed of which information travels, which is the speed of light, the cosmic speed limit, we're more likely dead because of the Fermi Paradox, the tears that you have to go through, and the natural phenomena that you have to encounter. So it's
Yeah.
almost nearly improbable that in our vast universe, even just neighboring solar systems, that this is actually possible. So you
Yeah.
need to come at it at a critical thing before you want to confirm, your ideology. That's it.
Yeah. Like when you think about it, when you put time into a factor, everything just turned very crucial.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Time is everything. Even just trying to send something to Proxima B that's four light years away. It's still 4 years, right? A lot can happen in 4 years. I mean,
That's true.
and it's also, returning that information. So it takes a long time, and a very long time. And then to physically travel, let's just let's just say if you just totally ignore like sending a signal. Say they got a signal, right? That was 4 years in the past. And they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
planet Earth is doing pretty well from what we see. I mean, obviously their climate's evolving, but they're starting to figure some things out. Maybe we should go visit. It still
Yeah.
takes them 4 years at the speed of light. At the speed of light.
Still though, with
That's a lot.
if they're able to travel at the speed of light in the span of 4 years just to visit us, I feel flattered. Like, wow, you guys are like high tier. Just come to visit us
Come to visit
peasant.
us.
Come to visit us peasant. Thanks.
Yeah.
But
And yeah.
imagine like with your word like okay, while like they sent signal while that is during the Jurassic age, Jurassic period. What if they
Mhm.
send a signal of like, oh wow, you guys are cool. You guys are like giant lizard. And then when the guys like when you got the signal and they finally arrive, like, dude, what the heck? Where's my giant lizard? Imagine the biggest blue balls. Like, oh,
Oh, yeah. They show up, everything it's just mammalia, everybody's walking around, they're like, "There's
what is this
7."
ape doing?
Yeah. Hairless Hairless apes? What's going on here? Oh, totally.
No, man.
Totally.
According to Plato, we are featherless biped. We are chicken. We are chicken without feather, dude.
You know, that's oh my. Uh, I love how
Featherless.
everybody today, like, a lot of the references are coming from things that like happened 2,000, 3,000 years ago, even just, you know, like a few centuries ago.
Yeah.
The references are like so bad. Like, why are you referencing something that happened that long ago from someone that thought that light was produced by our own eyes, and whenever you shut your eyes, light didn't exist?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like so, and I think people fall privy to this as well, is that science progresses every day. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like it's not like how do I say this politely? It's not like religious fact, right? Because religious fact is usually set in stone in terms of like the message from their creator, or the messages that they want to instill over generations. But like science changes every friggin' day. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't. So like a good example of that is like Darwin, right? Darwin created his works in the late 1800s. It's a long time ago, right? And people still yeah, Darwin had amazing points across the board, but he didn't hit home on every one of them. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them were probably pretty dumb compared to what we know now. But somebody had to say something, right? And it progressed thought and curiosity in others that tried his things and said, well, this is dumb, but this makes sense, so let's move forward with this. And it just created a cascading effect of understanding. I think that's kind of how I think people miss that point, that science
Mm-hmm.
changes all the time, and it's for the better.
Yeah.
So to reference something that's 1,000 years old is sometimes just silly, very
Dude,
silly.
why do you clown on me for citing Plato?
Oh no, I not you. It's not you. You just brought a
I
really good
mean,
point up.
I'm just kind of clown on it. That's why Daojin is kind of, kind of just like throwing a chicken. That's pretty funny though.
I mean,
Yeah, this is
some of
your
it's funny.
human.
Yeah, some of it's funny, man. It really is. But okay, so I want to get your take on this because you're very in the moment in pop culture and you have some understanding. Now, granted, you're in Thailand now, so I don't know how much you keep up with the United States BS anymore. But
Oof.
I have this is the hot take portion. I do believe we've been very civil in terms of what we think, and we've just given just some scientific explanation on a lay term. But so there's a lot going on in the world at the moment. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always been a lot of shit going on in the world, obviously. But I think it's very interesting that after 5 decades, they've decided to have another meeting about UAPs out of random. It feels random.
Yeah.
And maybe
That
it's
still
not.
happens
Maybe
to me.
somebody could tell us in the comments that it's not. Maybe this was a scheduled thing that was
Yeah.
scheduled a long time ago. And maybe now that COVID's over, they're
They
not over.
finally
It's not
happen.
over. COVID's still going on. But now
They
that COVID restrictions are gone, they're meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But just here's a quick list of some things that are going on at the moment if you're not familiar and if you live under a rock. Um, if you live under, a Dwayne Johnson. So there's obviously the Ukraine conflict. There's
Mm-hmm.
obviously the climate crisis, anthropogenic climate crisis. Let me correct myself. There's obviously Roe v. Wade going on right now that's looking to be overturned by the Supreme Court. And then
True.
even just to throw another thing out there, I've seen this a lot, especially on TikToks with like mothers and different people are saying like, there's a baby formula shortage. So, obviously if you can't produce breast milk, your kid's in trouble, in a way. So there's all these things going on, and I'm making that was like a list that covered global to, at home in a perspective. But then we just throw in, UAPs, just random. What do you think? What do you think about that?
It's is definitely strange
Yeah.
as a coincidence,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna feed any conspiracy much.
Come
But
on, man.
I do feel it's very strange,
Fishy.
just to talk about things like aliens. Oh, and just to have the same conclusion of like, oh, we still don't know, but we did not have data because we did not send any signal.
Yeah. They did a good job, especially and given just the stuff that I looked over, they did a really good job of just continuously dismissing, or not dismissing, but just continuating the UAP approach. Oh, it's still unidentified. We don't know. Even though
Yeah.
this was brought up years ago, or not decades ago. I find it to be a public distraction. I think it's a public distraction. I don't usually give my hot takes in terms of social aspects, but I will here. I really think it's a public distraction. And I think they're doing a good job of it actually. Whenever I turn on TikTok, wherever I go make my science TikToks, it's usually like one of the first 5 videos that you swipe through. Somebody's like, I can't believe this is a distraction versus Roe v. Wade, or I can't believe this is a distraction versus the climate crisis. I can't believe that they're talking about this whenever people are in the streets or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I totally get it. Super valid, and I'm right there with you. But they still did it, and they still got you, and you're
Mm-hmm.
still distracted. So there's still a lot of people distracted just trying to talk about aliens. It's like bringing them back out of the woodwork. Because Roe v. Wade's a super important thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Climate crisis is a
True.
really important thing, and
Climate crisis is very important thing.
yeah.
As you know, bee dying at the alarming rate is very scary and sad.
Oh, bees dying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I wrote so like on the website, I wrote that article about bees, and yeah, whenever I was doing my research, I was like, this is kind of sad. Oh man, I mean, we need bees for like
a
freaking
lot of
everything.
things. If we don't have bees, we pretty much we pretty much screwed.
Yeah, and this is bumblebees, right? I mean, people just attribute pollination as, oh, it's bumblebees. No, there's so many different
Honeybees,
there's so many different types of
carpenter
bumblebee.
bees.
They're bees, yeah. Oh yeah, carpenter bees
Mm-hmm.
are cool looking. There's so many different types, and even people shit on wasps, but like they still do a hell of a lot of pollination. Male mosquitoes are big pollinators as well.
That's
Butterflies,
true.
birds. There's like we need
True.
all of that stuff in tandem, even though like the vast majority is handled by bees.
Bees.
We
Mm-hmm.
we still need the collective effort.
I
Uh,
mean, WAP is kind of bee, but mean. That's why they hunt more than pollinate. But
mhm.
they did a lot really good pest control though,
Yes, yeah, you
until
said that.
they become a pest itself.
Kind of like mosquitoes, right? Like the female mosquito sucks on your blood because it needs the protein to create eggs to
Mm-hmm.
reproduce. So it's
Yeah.
just literally their encoded way of life that I need to suck blood to make kids. And the males actually don't do that at all. They just go out there and pollinate because they just are drunk on nectar
Mhm.
24/7. And
Um, can we clip that
yeah,
on when you said drink blood to make it? Can we
it's
clip that? It really remind me of that meme. So like, during when COVID is very severe during 2020,
Mhm.
and do you see that meme? Like, it's been 3 months, and now mosquitoes sucking my blood, and I start moaning. Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember you sending me that. Oh man, nature's and this brings me to a point about like, I know we're talking aliens again, but this brings me to a great point. Imagine
Mosquito
imagine
alien. Dude, you know, see, like, dude, that's a
That'd be a good
goth.
sci-fi novel.
That'll be a goth chick right there. Big, big titties, blood sucking. They go, Mos- mosquito
Pan's
girlfriend.
losing it. Pan's losing it. He's
Oh
canceled.
god!
No.
Please don't cancel me. I don't have Twitter.
Imagine. So yeah, that's a good sci-fi novel, dude. Maybe you should make a comic of it. Imagine, like, and it's a real world thing now, right? Because mosquitoes are have such a massive population because they're also feeding off a rising population of human beings. And
Especially in Southeast Asia, where you really can't escape from them from any season.
yeah, now imagine if just a random alien civilization of mosquitoes show up when they're already bloodsuckers.
They are literally vampire. Oh
Yeah,
my god. It's not big titties, fucking mosquito girlfriend. It's like big titties, goth, vampire girlfriend. Oh my god.
yeah, you're done. You're done. Game over.
Please, please don't cancel me. I beg.
Nah, you're good, man.
Oh my god, it's funny.
But yeah, man, like evolution has just so many possibilities of what would show up at the doorstep, which is very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Like super interesting. Like maybe even like they don't have language at all. Maybe they're a species that's just dealing with like echolocation, like whales,
Or
possibly.
just like bees, you know, like they communicate through math and like the vibration of like the
Yeah.
body.
They
This is
dance.
that's just cool. They dance.
I love that, man. That is a cool fact.
Communication through dancing.
It's so cool, man. I think we get lost in how egotistical we are, or just we're shadowed from like nature. But nature is
Mm-hmm.
so intelligent. We brace our 1% as something that's really huge, but it's really not. Like there's a lot of things that we can't do that a lot of species can. Like I make the
Yeah.
joke a lot that like we're like humans are so blind we can only see Roy G. Biv, which is like what the number of right now from like a physics standpoint from what we've measured on the electromagnetic spectrum is 0.0035% of light is what we see. 0.0035%. Whereas there's a lot of creatures that can see an
Able
infrared,
to
visible light,
just like
UV, many
think.
different things. It's sick. It's unbelievable. And they still
Or
communicate very well.
yeah, or something like that, but like they are naturally blind, but they still can communicate through like the echo of like, you know,
Yeah,
their their voice, I think.
most
Right?
definitely. Most
This is
definitely.
cool.
It
Nature's
really
a
is.
tool, man.
Yeah. If you go throughout your life, man, not trying to learn a bit about nature, you're missing out. There's some sick facts in nature. Like, huh,
Yeah.
super cool. But yeah, okay. So just a quick recap, and then maybe we'll think of something before we end this. I know you might have some cool thoughts. I'm assuming, but we talked about the UFO UAP meeting. We've talked about what certain objects could be, why they could be those objects, why it could be an alien, why it definitely couldn't, in terms of the
Mhm.
Fermi paradox. We've talked. Oh my goodness, we did not talk about Space Force. Do you mind if I talk about Space Force really quick?
Sure,
And
go ahead.
not the TV series on Netflix. Not the even though that's a pretty good TV
Dude, you
series,
have beef
it's
with
funny.
Will Ferrell. You have beef with what's his name?
Oh, the
Uh
dude from The Office, Sean. No,
yeah, Mike
frick, I
no,
don't
his
know his
name.
name now. That's gonna kill me. Hold on.
You have beef with that dude? Steve Carell?
Steve Carell. Steve Carell. Yeah. No, I don't. I don't. I love Steve Carell, man. He's a great actor. But the real Space Force, right, is something that actually it sounds stupidly funny, but it actually has really good application, and you should probably be happy about it because
Mhm.
without it, you would actually be in danger. So, like, okay, so Space Force is kind of this organization that literally monitors space. By space, I mean anything low Earth orbit, and including the ISS, other bodies that like are in control of the United States. So that in goes with satellites and other I mean satellites is anything that orbits a body. So all satellites. They monitor their health, when they're more likely to fall out of orbit, if they're going to clash with other satellites. They're
Mm-hmm.
also detecting to see if something is trying to invade another satellite, like in terms of like a physical attack, possibly even a cyber attack.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I mean, and think about the repercussions of that, right? We use it for weather. We use it for GPS, for location. We use it for many different types of information in terms of just studying the Earth.
True.
Like it's like like endless possibilities. And what Space Force does is it protects them and protects us from losing out or from invasion or loss of information, etc. So it's a very important entity to have within the government. It's one of the things
Can
I'm very
I
excited about. They should probably help with the budget on Space Force, but that's my opinion. Hot take.
can I highlight on the cyber attack
Yes.
on
Yes.
satellite?
We love it. Yeah. Go for it.
Like, just because like we use satellite for a lot of things, especially like observing that data from
Mhm.
like outer space. The cyber attack can be very dangerous. Like if just we can look at it through like Ukraine conflict right now with like how Anonymous did to the Russia, which
Oh yeah.
I know that they did a good job, but imagine like when we looking back, like what a cyber attack on satellite, but it's just for malicious intent. That would be very scary. I feel like at that point, I don't know if it will be a space force problem or if it will be like someone else, but yeah,
Mhm.
if it if it's Space Force job on that one, then good on them. Salute to you, man. That's you. That's just cool.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of implications, and there is, and just the complexity of this. I encourage you, if you think that this is still silly, to go ahead and look up a satellite map of Earth and just see how much space junk is up there. So you have to protect the satellites from taking damage and falling out of the sky, possibly even killing a bunch of people, right? Because there's a big threat to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, they do guide satellites out of harm's way, alert they even, do cross communication with other governmental bodies in terms of, making sure that they don't clash,
Mm-hmm.
in the, in orbit. So, Space
Yeah.
Force is important for sure. So,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
On on the contrary, they're not fighting aliens as a lot of people thought, though.
No, no. So telescopes point out, satellites point down, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they also probably have some sort of hand. I'm not going to make a complete claim, but I'm sure that they do also look into different telescopes. Although that's kind of unlikely. It's more than likely going to be satellites where a lot of the shit is that could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, telescopes, will go out to a certain Lagrangian point, which is outside of, you know, the capability of being smashed by other space junk, like in like
Mm-hmm.
in a certain range of orbital of, I guess, in orbital mechanics. But yeah, I would say that their main focus is satellites, stuff that points down. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, yeah, so we've talked about Space Force now. Man, we talked about the public distraction, gave our little hot take. That's about as hot take as I'll go in terms of social stuff. Uh,
Man, from the first episode till now, we try to stay away from hot take, but we keep running into it, man.
well, I mean, it's good. It's kind of healthy too, right? I'm sure a lot of people
I think
share
it's
that.
good. It's like something. It's a discussion I really want to talk, bro. Like those hot takes and things, whether it's like clown take or just like actual not pretty good take. It's all
Agreed.
good.
Agreed. So before we end this episode too, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything that you would like to discuss really quick? Got about 10 minutes.
My closing thoughts. Mm, I would want to say that aliens is cool.
I thought you were literally cooking up a pie of information there, man. You had smoke coming out the ears. I'm like, he's gonna say something. He's like, aliens are cool.
Aliens
Aliens
is
are cool,
cool,
bro.
man. So, if you guys are tier 4 and able to reach out to us and not shoot us down, nice. Nice of you to meet us, Tessin, tier 0.5. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, if you also have any I'm sure you have already figured out how to do space travel appropriately and
Please teach
also
us.
how to cure a climate or mediate a climate. So if you want to pass that information on, yeah,
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
we would we would appreciate that for sure. For
Just
sure.
drop it on like some. Just drop it on NASA or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
please.
Don't drop it to Joe Schmo in the cornfield looking to get probed. Send it to somebody that matters, in terms of intelligence. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
man. Just don't drop it on like cow. We can't learn shit from cow. So
yeah,
please,
yeah,
just send it to actual proper organization. Don't do it on like the WHO organization because those guys look at germs. Please send
yeah.
it to NASA,
Yeah,
please.
I've a good feeling that if they're here and they're dropping info like that, I think they'll find the appropriate specimen for sure.
True, man.
My take is out of all this information that's coming out, there's a hell of a lot of misinformation out there. I know like this entire podcast episode, we didn't make everything informational. We tried to make it fun and interesting, and also giving our
We
takes.
pretty much
But
make it casual.
yeah, we made it casual, but like there's going to be people out there that are going to push their confirmation bias. So you really need to be critical on what information is coming out there. Like we did
That's
talk about the
true.
Fermi Paradox. We talked about some physical phenomena because we can talk about that because we studied it. There's people that have not studied that ever and will talk about it and they'll get it completely wrong and they'll misskew any sort of thought process that
So
you have on it. So be
before
critical for sure.
yeah, before you guys have any take, just look at the evidence behind it. It would be
Mhm.
very good.
Mhm.
So you want to look like a clown when you like have your hot take. I'm not shout out anyone though. So yeah.
Yeah. Or you just even ask somebody that would probably know, like somebody that has
Hmm.
a title in physics, or somebody who understands like maybe even environmental science or planetary science. Someone who definitely studies that stuff and has a great deal of understanding, right? Because everybody has a range of knowledge in
Yeah.
certain topics. So yeah, definitely find your sources correctly and sift through that misinformation and be critical, especially with this stuff. There's
Also, if you use Google to find your sources, look more than like, just one sources. Just look
Mhm.
probably 5 sources and try to find the one that you feel like is credible,
Yeah.
I would say.
Not
Even
even
though
that,
like
man. Think about it this way, because like Google has an algorithm that like caters to your search. So if you're searching
oh,
that alien, UFO, the UFO meeting, aliens exist, then you're gonna get a
you wanna
lot
get
of a
aliens
lot of stuff
instead,
about aliens existing. Now, if you also research the other side of things and search the critical side of it, then you'll be able to get both sides of the story,
both
and you could probably
information.
come to a middle point. So definitely do that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of homework, so do it.
Do it. Let me
Do
yeah,
it.
I guess we should probably make a calling point right here. Like let us know in the comments, what you think about the meeting, what you think about the public distraction
Yeah.
theory, not theory, the public distraction hypothesis that we came up with earlier. We're just curious. We want to know what your thoughts are in terms of some of the details that came out of the meeting for sure. Maybe there's something that
Yeah,
we missed out on. Yeah,
that is true.
yeah. I'm
And
sure we missed out on a lot.
tell us on how to become tier 1 in Fermi
Else to move
Paradox,
up.
please.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know. We're interested. But all right, so this is the conclusion of Theory Bros number 2, where we talked about aliens, cats, public distraction, Space Force, and just a bunch of random crap. So we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and definitely comment, let us know, and stay curious.
Please tell in the comments how cute my cat is.
That too. All right, we're done.
See
Bye.
ya.